That basically is my podcast blowing up. Not in a good way. Not in a good way. Welcome to the Tempest Universe. This is the March 1st episode. And I believe that the last time that we talked on Thursday, I was going to do a 2027 situation, but I was going to focus it basically on kind of one specific person. But you know, it's everywhere. It's not just Chris Bledsoe. That's who I was going to focus on, Chris Bledsoe. But he's not the only one making these predictions. He's not the only one going out there saying that there's going to be a major change in 2027. He's still working on 2026, thanks to the whole Easter, the Star Regulus, and all that kind of good stuff. But we don't even know if that's going to happen because it doesn't sound like the date is right. And it's funny because I went back to some of his old interviews. In the interviews, he was saying that it was NASA that gave him Easter as the date that the Sphinx and the Star Regulus that they're going to line up. And now all of a sudden, people are going into these, astronomy computer programs and stuff like that, and they show that that does not happen during Easter. First question is, how in the fuck did NASA get it wrong of all people? How did NASA, who should be using the stars to navigate, get that thing wrong? How is that possible? This is what budget cuts do. Like NASA, like literally, I think someone, when Chris was talking about this initially, someone at NASA broke out the abacus and started sliding things around, trying to figure out if that's going to happen. And they gave him the wrong damn date. According to everybody else besides NASA, and right now, Chris Bledsoe, this happens in the fall. It's not even happening during Easter this year, 2026. So I don't know. What the hell is going on? Did they give him bad information just so that he'd fail and they can go and be at the Sphinx and try to, get the goods on this? What the lady told him? Who knows? It's just weird that NASA got it wrong. That just makes no sense to me. Like, I know they didn't just answer him. Oh, I got the answer. I'm pretty sure that they took their damn time like to do everything else. And then to give a wrong answer, that's kind of weird. Again, NASA has issues, but I think the issues are not by mistake. They're not an accident. It's on purpose. So I don't know. Has Chris ever gone back and challenged them on that answer? Who knows? Chris right now is on cloud nine with everything that's happening to him, I think. I don't even know. But he seems like he's such an easygoing, laid-back guy. Nothing disturbs the Bledsoe. Except 2027. And not even that, right? Because according to Chris Bledsoe, 2027 is not Armageddon. It's not anything. It's just, it's an awakening. We're going to go to become new humans, I guess. And it's weird because prior to talking about Chris Bledsoe and all his predictions, there were, and there still are, you can go on YouTube and find out, there are many psychics who are saying 2027, there's going to be an awakening. There's going to be a new reality for humanity. What that is, they don't really say. But there are people who do say what they believe or what they've been told. And those are the clips that we have for you today. Straight from the platform X, because everybody in ufology goes there to talk shit. And so I'm going to go there to listen to shit and then share that shit with you. It's basically how it goes. Shit runs uphill because you guys are my listeners and I put you in an altar up there. So shit's running uphill today. Anyway, the first one that I have, just to put things into perspective, it is a clip that was taken by the Interstellar UAP X account. In this clip is vetted, and the host Patrick with Michael Ian Black. He's a comedian, writer, actor, blah, 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 blah. All that good stuff. But we're going to play this for you so you can check it out. Should be interesting. 3 minutes. That's all you got to listen for. But here it goes.
Like they told you an object was coming for Earth and even showed you a picture. And I just find that fascinating.
So I became friendly with somebody in the UFO community, and that person invited me into a small signal chat, literally just 3 of us. But we were trading information about what we were hearing, blah, 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 blah. And so over the course of 18 months or so, this story begins to emerge from the person who invited me in, that there is an object, it's planet-sized, it's coming from out of our solar system into our solar system, it is decelerating, it has been decelerating for a couple of years, I think, at that point, and it's expected to enter our solar system around 2027. It is intelligently controlled, and when I asked how large it is, I was told massive, possibly even planet-sized. Later, I think maybe a month or two later, I was shown a photograph of this object. It looked like an astronomical image. It was taken from a distance. The thing was like this. It was gray. It was round. It could have been anything, but I was told this is the thing. Now, I was also told, please don't talk about this. This is huge. This is, when people are going to panic, blah, 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 blah. And of course, me being, some jerk off on cable TV, I'm like, what? And I was dubious because as soon as I heard planet-sized, I was like, wait, that doesn't make any sense to me at all, because it seems to me if you have planet-sized object entering your solar system, like other planets are going to feel that. Like we're going to see that. It's going to show up. Then again, just because something's planet-sized doesn't mean it has planet-sized mass. So I don't know. That being said, when Corbell released his video of saying there's a lie coming, and the lie is that there's an object approaching Earth and it'll be here in 2027, I was like, not that I believed it to begin with, but I was neither rejecting nor accepting it as a premise. I was like, all right, that's another data point. It's a huge data point, and it would be fucking freaky if it were true, but I'm definitely not believing this narrative at that point. But all of that to say, I still feel protective of the person who invited me into the Signal chat, and I feel protective of the person who gave that person their information, not because I'm afraid of any consequences, but just because I don't feel right about betraying trusts. And I was, it never came out, okay, now you can.
They told you an object.
That's interesting, right? Basically, everybody's protecting everybody. Everyone's putting out all this crazy information, but nobody wants to say who is saying what. And that's just, that literally is the issue with this topic altogether, all around, constantly. No one wants to give sources. And so if a comedian actor comes and tells you that he came across this information, big 2027 prediction, that it was relayed to him, if you don't know his sources, and how can you believe what he's saying? Well, unfortunately, this is a long history when it comes to the 2027 prediction. It's been around for quite some time. It really has. There's a little video here that was put together. This one's about 8 minutes long, but it has all the heavy hitters. It has Corbell, it has Chris Bledsoe, Leslie King, Stephen Greer, and it just keeps Louis Elizondo. They're all in there. John Ramirez, ex-CIA agent, who also came forward as a whistleblower. All of these guys are in there talking about the 2027 invasion prediction. Now again, I got to take a step back because we got to give Stephen Greer his props. For well over a decade, he's been saying that there is a lie, just like Corbell said. Not Corbell. It is Corbell. The hell. Like Corbell said, that basically the government, or the secret government, or the cabal, as he likes to call them, that they are putting together a fake invasion in order to empower themselves to basically become all powerful over the planet. Basically, right? But he also says that, abductions are fake. They're done by the military. There's all these other things happening that they're not real, but all leading to this whole thing in 2027 where it is the AKA cabal that's making aliens to be evil, hateful invaders that humanity needs to be protected from, and therefore we have to empower the government at B to protect us all. Now, could Trump fit that role? Becoming the god of the planet, the protector of all humanity? He's kind of doing that right now, isn't he? That is kind of weird how that's just clicking together. But let's play this. You can listen to the rest of these guys giving you their prediction, what they heard, and their perspective. You know, not all of them believe it. There are dissenters among this group. And really, we need to be careful with this. There's just no way to know what's really going on, to be honest. But, you know, before we play that, let me just play a little request for you.
Greetings, listeners of the Tempest universe. If you seek the truth beyond your skies, like this transmission and share it across your networks. And subscribe before we return.
Really, that's the kind of alien I need backing me up. Check this out.
Definitely. It better happen before that. I don't think we're going to be in any shape in a decade to be doing very much of anything. So I'm not hopeful for the future direction that we're moving in.
And the future direction, climate-wise, AI-wise?
Climate-wise and geopolitical-wise, you know, that's the thing I think is going to kind of come. I think things are going to be pretty difficult starting in a few years. And from what I've been told by sources.
You hear of something big coming down the pike. Have you heard of these claims? And if so, do you have any idea what it may be?
Yes, I've heard of them. Yes, I'm aware of them, and I'm not able to have that conversation.
Got it.
It's not my conversation to have, but I am aware of it.
2027 was mentioned at one time. I've heard other dates in the 30s. I don't know. I've got no idea. I have no leads that make me feel strongly that this is true. I think it's speculative.
Reading a lot of stuff that says, full contact in 2027. And there's all these people that used to work for NASA or all these other organizations out there talking about how our history as a species is really simply a...
Some may feel in the government the mere fact of acknowledging this, if there is some sort of malintent, may push up artificially a clock that exists somewhere for these things to say, okay, the foolish humans are now, the cat's out of the bag, they know we're here, we need to go in now.
And so at a certain point, where do they have to do something to protect other places? Because there's a universal principle of self-defense. So far, we've just been cruising along, getting away with this foolish and childish behavior. But I can't give you a timeline on that, but I think that, I honestly, from what I've heard from very senior intelligence sources inside the so-called illegal operations, is that it's thought that it would not be able to go on beyond 2026.
Story that set the whole UAP community on fire about this disclosure that I think Jeremy Corbell was coming out and whistleblowing on, if I remember correctly, that they were saying that they're gonna they're gonna trick us by saying that there's a mothership arriving. And
that lie is going to be that there is a craft slowly making its way to us here on Earth. And that is the lie they're gonna want you to believe. That is the lie you will be told. You're gonna be told that there is a craft on its way to Earth. That's the lie.
Where it's like, how do you know? He's saying that he's exposing it, but how do you know if he's exposed? It's just like...
Yes, there was an official effort by some people in the government to actually look at this data, and there were some products produced. That's a fact. I won't go into more detail on that. But it wasn't 2027.
Okay.
And
no, tell them what Bluebeam is.
The allegation was that there is an alien mothership that is about 2 years away from Earth. And it's going to make landfall on Earth in 2027, and that is the government's psyop plan.
I'm just concerned. That's all.
Yeah.
So I don't think 10 years in the future. I only think 3 or 4 years into the future.
Mm-hmm. It's too uncertain past that point.
I would say so.
On mission, I know that it actually occurred. They mentioned Holloman. They mentioned an agreement of some kind, and that there's a 50 to 70 year periodicity when that sort of meeting takes place again. So we're in that time zone right now.
And is this the alleged countdown clock that we've been hearing about?
Yes, that's the one Ramirez and I and everybody else has talked about. We still don't know who originated it. But yeah, we all kind of tend to have fallen onto that time frame.
A lot of what we take for granted now in life, I don't think is going to be, we're not going to have it. A lot of things we have now that makes our lives as wonderful as they are.
Like electricity?
I don't know. Just the access to all the things we have access to now that are dependent on the globalization, basically, which just aren't sustainable.
This is from King Milkfart, and they say, how do you feel about a supposed impending event that is coming? Do you feel anxious, happy, excited? How do you feel?
Well, first of all, great question. Almost a trick question. Very, very clever. Very, very well worded. There's been a lot of talk about something happening. I am aware through certain channels of that same discussion. It may not necessarily be the exact dates that people are thinking right now. And quite frankly, we're not really quite sure what to think of it. Right now, there's a lot of innuendos and rumors going around. There is some discussion behind closed doors about maybe something occurring.
Exact alignment will happen in 2026 at Easter.
What will happen?
The star will, the alignment she told me about, that the star of Regulus would be on the horizon in front of the Sphinx. At that moment, there'd be a new knowledge. Well, I had no idea if this was even possible, but these astronomers run it through the machines and it comes out that that star is going to come up on the horizon in Easter of 2026. And from that point forward, they started remote viewing.
And I would say I've heard 2027 in a kind of an official capacity I can't reveal. So I think I would say that people in government are aware of something happening and that there's limited time, a few more years to prepare the people, and that's what's ramping up this acceleration from the previous 7 decades of not even acknowledging it to now we are acknowledging it at a faster and faster pace.
The biggest takeaway for folks to understand is that things are happening on it's not a disclosure, it's a scheduled dissemination. And so certain things have to be set up before other things can be revealed.
Can you elaborate on the 2027 date and just let people know what you were told about that, or what's upcoming here for people?
2026 date. It's amazing to see everybody just claiming this every day now. 2026, 2027, that year. Something's going to happen. Well, let me tell you, in 2013, I was given that date by the lady about a future time that a new knowledge would come and the world would shift into a time of peace afterward, but not without trouble. And that's what she told me, and along with a lot more. But I put it all in writing to a couple of generals at the Pentagon.
Anyways, I think the word got out within the government that they're showing up in 2027, and we better be prepared. And if not, there's going to be a lot of explaining to do.
That the year 2027 has emerged in various social media venues. I was asked about my knowledge of that year. I, John Ramirez, acknowledged that 2027 seemed to loom large within the channeler and spiritual consciousness communities. I suggested that they research what Anjali and Chris Bledsoe have stated.
And Chris was telling me about the apocalyptic visions that he was having. And I already knew by that time that this was something that absolutely happened to people who were experiencers. But I also told him this. I said, Chris, people have been having these apocalyptic visions for over 2,000 years, and we're still here. I said, so it could possibly be that, this might happen. I mean, who am I to say that it's not going to happen?
I've been pushed back by CIA for 3 things. And one of them was 2027. One of them was 2027.
Isn't that crazy? Isn't that wild? Now, that was all clipped together and put together by Red Panda Koala, also on X, formerly Twitter. The links to both of these videos and their X accounts, prospective X accounts, are in the description. So please feel free to follow them, because I do. Honestly, they're quite informative and they're really into this. I mean, they're not like me. I show up like 3 times a week and that's it. Maybe twice sometimes. But these guys are in there every damn day of the week. I don't know. I think, like, I try to keep my distance a little bit. I don't want to get too caught up on it, but it is what it is. 2027, that's what they're saying. And, it's funny how, Jason Sands talked about the Holloman Air Force Base deal, and that this 2027 is revisiting that deal that was made with this NHI alien existence. That they're supposed to come back and do a handshake and, hey, let's probe your people for another 100 years. Who knows what it is? I'm not really sure where you go with this other than wait. All you can do is sit and wait. Now, again, you saw Louis Elizondo also said from sources that he cannot disclose. Jeremy Corbell said it's a lie. Stephen Greer, it's a lie. So we're building the 2 sides of this conversation for 2027. You've got folks who are pretty high up when it comes to the ufology situation, already saying that this is BS. Don't fall for it. And then you got guys on the other side there, Chris Bledsoe's over there. Anjali is an interesting one. We got to do an episode on her, probably on Tuesday, because when I first came across Anjali, I was like, what in the hell is going on Why are these people following this lady? But, I immediately I stopped following her, but it seems like we need to go visit her again. Because even she's being mentioned in this whole 2027 thing. This is nuts. Anyway, what do you think? What do you think is going to happen in 2027? So we've got what they call a form of disclosure, possibly alien invasion, possibly there could be a new level of consciousness, an awakening of humanity. And that's one that I've been hearing a lot also from psychics, that basically humanity is going to awaken things in their consciousness that let them tap into new abilities. Or this could just be a straight up alien invasion, or the whole, let's cut a deal again. There is a lot going on, let me tell you, all starting with this year. Now, I think in January, I said that 2026 is a continuation of the dumpster fire that was, honestly, everything from COVID until now. This year has been a dumpster fire, and we're early. We just started March. A lot more is coming, Hey, I mean, what else could you say? Oh, yeah, this is the end of it. No. We've only scraped the top of this. What do we do now if Chris Bledsoe's The Lady prediction actually comes true? Does Chris Bledsoe become the next religious figure? What happens if there is a false narrative of an invasion in 2027? Chris Greer, does he finally get the credit he allegedly deserves? Does Louis Elizondo, do people stop, saying that he's a bad guy? Does Jeremy Corbell become the new messiah of ufology because he warned us? This is just crazy. It really is. But we're about to find out here in, it's already March. We don't got that much more to go. So we'll stay tuned. This is the Tempest Universe. I hope you were able to get something from this, or at least bring you back up to date, because you might have to go sell all your stock, get rid of your cattle, or maybe buy cattle. Really live off the grid. Get yourself a little house in the middle of nowhere. Get that well water going. And arm up, because 2027 might be bad news for everybody, or it might be good news for everybody. Nobody knows. This is why I think about ufology and how literally you always get two sides, and no side is ever stronger than the other. You're stuck in between two perspectives. This is the way it always is with ufology. And this 2027 prediction is no different. So you pick sides, you figure out who you want to follow, and let me know. Give me your perspective of what you think about not only Chris Bledsoe's 2026 situation, but also 2027. Is the whole Trump situation kind of like a prelude to what's going to happen in 2027? Because he will still be the president of the United States at that point. And will he be the one driving this false narrative about an alien invasion? I mean, anybody that eats Whataburger the way he does, it's very possible. Thank you guys for showing up. Like, share, subscribe, and stay awake. Keep watching the skies. Okay, don't let that probe sneak up behind you.
Thank you for stopping by. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Stick around and check out another episode.